This conference will now be recorded.
What's up? Regular call meeting, July 1st, 2021 at 6:02 p.m. Roll call, Ivan Sandoval. Present. Maribel Diaz. Absent. Esmeralda Solis. Present. Lloyd Loya. Absent. Cesar Rodriguez. Adolfo Arriaga. Absent. We do have a quorum. Item B, public comments. Mr. Sanchez.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we do have one who has to be on the agenda for public comment. I'm sure she's on the Zoom, but her name is Soyla Huaracha.
Okay.
Huaracha, are you on the?
Yes, I am Soyla Huaracha.
Okay. Huaracha, you have the floor. You'd like to present your public comment.
Yes, sir. And I emailed them, and I will discuss them now. My comment right now is I am a resident of Palmview. I live on 1/4 mile South La Homa. And I called a few weeks ago, and I spoke to Tabitha because there was something put out there because a sinkhole started creating, not potholes, sinkholes. Like my tire would disappear and come back up. And they put a barrel out there. It was out there for about 2 weeks and it disappeared. You know, like half of it disappeared. Then I called Tabitha, somebody came and put dirt on it. But some more sinkholes created around it. I think it's not safe, it's very dangerous. I tried reaching out to Palmview. They said it was AGUA SUD. I've been reaching out to AGUA SUD. That, like I said, they went and put dirt. With all the rain, everything's gone. So again, there's nothing there to stop anybody from going right through it. And now that the road is open from side to side, there is constantly traffic going through there. And I just think it's a very, very unsafe situation right now. And I just didn't want something bad to happen before it even gets fixed. So I wanted to put it out there because it's very unsafe. We're talking about my tire, the whole tire disappears. I don't want to wait till my car or somebody else's cars literally fall in through there. And it's cracked really bad. So if one of those things was halfway, if you put it out there right now, it's a third, but it's getting worse again.
Okay, Ms. Huaracha, we have informed our contractors. We appreciate your comments. We have informed our contractors, but at the end of the day, if they don't, we try to make sure it stays safe for the area. So our engineers are aware of it, and we'll stay on making sure that area, is safe to travel.
Well, yeah, no, I appreciate that, but like I just said, I don't want something severe to happen. It's very, very scary to go through there, and at night, people that don't know, and we're talking about heavy cars going through there. I just didn't want to see an accident before somebody says, okay, I think we should get them out there tomorrow. You know, I just wanted to put that as a comment. I understand you. This is the same conversation I had when I spoke to Tabitha. She did say our contractors, nobody gives dates of when. I mean, it's just they're notified already. So I don't know if I'm looking at another 6 months, 2 weeks, 2 days. I know I'm going through there every single day. I just wanted to see, I saw your agenda, what's going to be getting fixed and what's going on. I guess I missed this month, but I would appreciate if somebody would take action, or I don't know how y'all work. This is the first time I've ever made a call or a comment.
Okay, thank you very much for your comments. We'll certainly address it with our staff and our engineer and our contractor, get it addressed.
Okay. Okay. Well, I appreciate it. And
Thank you,
they
ma'am.
have my email, and my email is there, or I'll be reading up on follow-ups on the newsletters to see if anything's going to happen. But if anything does happen, I would like to be notified, or public notification. But I'll be looking into that. I appreciate you guys. Y'all have a blessed night.
You too. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Item number 2, minutes. Item A, approval of minutes for April 1st, 2021, our board meeting. I have a motion by Sandoval. I need a second. Second by Cesar. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 3, discussion possible action on non-standard service agreement for water service to be submitted to Mr. Adena Maria Ramirez for the cost related to water service for Triple E subdivision.
Yes, Mr. President, members of the board, we have a meeting here to present the subdivision for the service. Good evening, board members. This is Triple E subdivision. It's a 10-acre subdivision. It consists of 2 lots, one being for residential and the other being for commercial. It's located on the south side of Mount 2 Road, approximately 275 feet, directly west of La Homa Road in Palm, Texas, and we recommend it. So moved.
Motion by Sandoval. Second by Solis. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4, presentation, discussion, and possible action to select a contractor for water line relocation at FM 2221 7 Mile Line for labor and equipment only due to tech stock improvement.
Yes, Mr. President, members of the board, as you know, TxDOT is making improvements over there to 7 Mile Line is, which is FM 2221. And now they're transitioning for about half a mile to a mile to go back to the existing roadway that they're connecting to. And as a result of that, Texas asked us to relocate a water line. And so we spoke to Mr. Salinas just to get us some quotes, a little drawing in regards to what needed to get relocated. He was able to get 3 quotes, and I'll have him make a presentation of this. Yes, good evening, board members. On this project is basically a reconstruction of State Highway 107, FM 2221. We visited several times with TxDOT and also with Albert here. We verified the lines that needed to be relocated, and initially there was an 8-inch line that was going to be relocated, and then a couple of days ago we kept discussions going with TxDOT, and we were able to avoid having to relocate that line. So it's only a 3-inch line and a service connection. We were able to save a good chunk on not having to relocate that line. Since they're only reconstructing the road, it's just these lines that are in the way. We sent out requests for quotes to 6 different contractors. We had 3 responses. They're attached on here, and the lowest is RV Welding Services, and that's who we are recommending for a total amount of $5,330.
What was the original cost? Like when
The original cost was, including materials, was approximately $45,000.
Give or take.
Yeah. This is only for labor and equipment. Yeah, we're providing the material. So by not having to relocate the 8-inch line, there's a good $25,000-$30,000 in because the board is right across the they have.
Good.
Yes, street bids are 26,000, 12,000 and 5,000 they got from all 3 of them.
Yes, that's what we received. We haven't worked with RV Welding Services before, but they are installing a water line for one of the subdivisions. Albert here sent them the request for quotes, and this was their response. So
How have they been doing the work for the fishing?
yeah, they've been installing an 8-inch water line. It's kind
Cuevitas subdivision.
Excuse me, for the record, Maribel Diaz walked in at 6:12.
And I believe they also do their own boring, correct? Their own boring.
Any other questions? You good, Cesar? Yes, sir.
Would it be a small project sometimes there could be a gap there, but it's something small.
Okay, so I make a motion to approve RV welding service, for being the lowest and more responsible bidder.
Okay. Motion made by Sandoval. Second by Cesar. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5, discussion possible action on appointment of advisory committee pursuant to Texas Local Government Code 395.058 as required to review, evaluate, and update impact fees charged by district.
This is within, it's been about 2 years since we've had, the impact fees, looked at, and there was a committee that needs to be appointed so that we can go ahead and look at them again and see whether, we need to modify them, due to, the fact that we've had a lot of development has been impacted our system. So we really need to reconsider what that number should be. So we're requesting and asking you to appoint a committee, so that we can, start that process and have meetings with that committee and show them where the development's been and what the numbers are right now, so we probably, recommend, or they would recommend to the board after they have this meeting. So we're asking you to appoint 5 members.
Yeah, it's 5. Okay. We do have John Warmack. He was the previous chairman, so I would like to keep him as chairman. Remove Juan Jose Peña and appoint Marcos Ochoa. Remove David Enciano and appoint Adolfo Villarreal. Remove Joe Chapa and add Mary T. Hernandez and keep Diana Ezeguirre. John and Diana would be the 2 developers on the committee. Sharon, does the board need to approve that?
Ring off.
Yeah, I have it. Second.
Need a motion if the board approves the committee?
So move.
I have a motion by Sandoval.
So this, is, community could be work, it's gonna be, an impact them, I'm assuming, right?
No, it really impacts the developers. Whenever there's development, you know, the impact fees were at one time somewhere in the neighborhood of $7,000, down to $150. And so we're trying to get it to a point where it's more reasonable because our impact fee budget isn't as high as it should be to take care of additional infrastructure improvements.
That's in regards to the meter, right?
Well, it's more in regard.
When you develop an area, right? It's
Yeah.
more expensive.
Yeah.
I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, well, it's more in fact that, do we need to add or increase, capacity at our water plants, to, upgrade our lines to be able to serve those areas because, we've been growing at around 2% a year. And, we need to make sure that we can provide them the water that we need to produce enough water to be able to serve. And those are impacts to our system. So we're just revisiting it, and the committee feels comfortable where we're at, or they're making a recommendation. It'll all be discussed in the committee, and then there'll be a presentation.
So I have a motion on the floor by Sandoval. Any second? Dies out, Sharon?
Okay.
It dies out, or?
Well, so just to be clear on it, so yeah, what you do on this chapter 395 requires that you have create, or reassess your impact fee, you first want to have a committee that will look at it. And they do several things. They'll do your land use, assumptions. So that is looking at growth in the area and projecting out what type of growth, what types of growth and the rate of growth. And that will inform what your capital improvement plan needs to be to address that growth, make sure that you have capacity and also the infrastructure to address the growth. So those are the two main things that you look at that then informs whether or not the impact fee itself needs to change. So it starts with appointing the advisory committee, which needs to be no less than 5 individuals, 40% of which needs to be, in this case, 2 individuals. The fourth advisory committee, SUD, need to be from the development or building construction. And so you appoint 5 individuals who represent the industry, and then they will present basically their recommendation on what land use assumptions are going to be, and then what capital improvement plan should do to address those, and what the necessary impact fee to be able to cover the cost of that. And so that really is what you're looking at. The obligation that the district have that committee to advise them.
So we have a motion, but we don't have a second, so
Yeah, so it dies out.
I think at that point you table it, you can come back and, or if there is any questions from any of the board members as to, the motion, or do any board members have a question about the motion?
We're gonna table it.
Motion by Maribel Diaz,
Second.
second by Esmer Solis. On the favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Aye. Motion carries. Item number 6, presentation, discussion possible action on recommendations by committee to amend fee schedule set forth for district rules, article number 9.
Yes, this is a presentation, and we have we've had the committee meetings in regards to all the fees that we feel need to be updated. It's been since 2008 since any of these fees have been, looked at, reconsidered, and we're trying to just stay, in line with what it is costing us, to do services. And so, Albert, if you want to go ahead and make a presentation.
Good evening, members of the board. As the Shank said, we're proposing AGUA fees to be revised. Like I said, the last time we were back in 2008, 2009, when this got revised. And we feel that it's about time to bring those fees up to date, to keep at least our administration and labor costs at somewhat a fair amount for our employees, and to also match those that are in the system, which is other utilities doing the same thing. And we have I mean, you have this table in front of you, the spreadsheet.
It's the very last sheet of that item, number 6.
Which is section 9 of the AGUA rules. And there's several line items. You want to visit each one individually or review them if you have any questions. We'll try to answer. You want to go line by line?
Go ahead.
It's first line item, section 2B, line 2B, preliminary evaluation form. Currently we're at $100 and we're proposing to bring it up to $250. And that's an administration that the office does here at customer service. And we'll go it last time to bring it up to be equal and have that fair amount to cover the cost of administration, cost of any paperwork or whatever it entails. So that's section 9.2B. The next section, 9.5B, sewer connection fees. At the current currently we're charging 155 and 180. That's, whenever we have any customers that have sewer, availability, they, come in and they pay a fee, which right now it's 155 and 180. And, 155 for 4-inch connections, and obviously the 6-inch will be the commercial account. That will be a 180. Now, that's an existing service already that's available. That's not for them to, install a sewer line. It's already available. It's on the premises, and it's part like if we had, like a meter service. But it's a sewer service, so that's the fee that they would have to, come and pay. And we're proposing to, bring it up to 225 and 250 just to cover those costs as well. The following, section 9.8, construction inspection fee used to be the investigation, now it's an inspection fee. The cost right now is at 5%, and we want to increase it to 7.5%. Also, the city needs to cover the cost of, our expenses to send someone to inspect. So it's a lot of going back and forth, so that takes also time from, the utility. And also the geotechnical, we don't have one currently, but we're proposing to have one at 3% low cost. Geotechnical, that's to go out there and do geotechnical. Right now, we don't have that, and we'll propose that as well to have it available so we can have those fees.
Right now, what we pay for geotechnical comes out of that 5%. So, and now we're keeping up with other cities, other communities that have separate fees. They have the inspection fee for us, and then the geotech that somebody comes in and does the test. So, and if we don't use it all, we'll give it back to the developer.
It's only charged if it's
Needed.
And, so like an inspection, that would be, for our sewer lines. Whenever there's a construction, new subdivision comes into place. Right now, currently, we do hire someone from the outside to do those inspections, but we want to start doing that ourselves as well. And we want to start, doing that, it's $1.75 per legal fee, to do the camera. Now, it's a legal fee less than 1,200 legal fees, then there's a trip charge. But it takes, it's, equipment to go out there where we're going to go and just to do maybe 500 feet if the cost is not there at legal fee. So there has to be service trip fee as well. So currently we have a contractor that would do that for us, but that's only when we have subdivisions within the sewer system. That's the only time we're going to use that for inspection. We're charged that inspection fee. Other than that, it's not for water lines. It's only sewer main lines. And that's something we want to look forward also for next year to purchase our own cameras to use it here within office. And the next line item would be the return check fee. We're at $25 right now. We're proposing to bring it up to $40. I think everyone's around $30 million, just to average out and make it $40. Just to cover now that, I don't think everyone has a return check fee. The way it works, the way she has the system, there's 3 return checks for that certain customer. She flags it. Maria, the supervisor at receptionist and customer service, and she flags it in the system, and they know not to get a check anymore from that customer anymore. So it's not, there's not a lot of those return check fees that you see on the report. It's minimal. Yeah. But they'll see that, and they know not to get a check from that customer anymore. So they get the opportunity. But that's something we want to also bring up. The meter lot fee, right now we're at $25. That's whenever they are delinquent. That's an assessment. Again, now we want to propose $50 for those delinquents that don't get in time. So instead of $25, it'll be $50. Also to cover those fees for the meters. That meter readers will go out there to do the locking and cover the lots. They're expensive. They're very expensive lots when we purchase them, and they take the whole of our budget when we purchase those lots. And after hours reconnect fee also as well. We have it at $50 currently, and proposing $75 for after hours. It's become minimal right now at $50. A lot of companies don't want to do it, and we feel that we go 75, it'll be toward customers will be paid. I mean, it's not for us to get that money. It's just to make them aware that keep their payment on time.
time and a half for that.
Yes, so we pay time and a half, they go out there, sometimes they have to go 3 times. This was not there, they have to come back, then they get back home and 2 hours later. So it's a back and forth thing, sometimes it's frustrating for the guy. Like, you're on call, you have to go on that. So that's something that they would have to, they would cover those, for cost of going back and forth. Now, the service trip fee, which is $9.13, there's a $5 fee right now that we can charge, it's 8 to 5, from 8 to 5 on Friday. And that's only when a customer calls, when we come and lock my meter or because we're leaving out of town. It's $5, I think $5 is too low for a service call for a meter reader to go out there. So we're proposing $15 just to cover that, cost to go out there. And now, after our service trip fee, we don't have one at the moment, but we want to do the same thing. It'll be like a $75 trip, service trip fee. Now, that's going to be an example. It's not for those that are locked. If there's an accident when they break the meter and there's water gushing, that's more of an emergency. But it's those special occasions where a customer breaks the line and say, I need help, close the angle stop or come and open it. That's where that fee would be there. And we'll have a report or some kind of form for the employees to have after hours, so they can fill out and the customers can sign as well. And the customer will be aware of that fee. If they're comfortable with that, they'll sign. If not, they'll have to put their own shut bell on their side. And
it'll help the customers make sure that they have their own shut off instead of worrying about our shut off to close, and they don't have to worry about touching them. It'll help them improve on their funding.
The responsibility on their side of the money. So that's the proposal for the service after hours. Now, with equipment damage, I know it's been an ongoing thing back and forth. Now that we have the new meter system, the smart meters, they're composite, they're plastic meters, and they have an antenna cable and a radio antenna. So there's more frequent damages to the radio, to the cable, because they snap it. And of course, that costs the utility, the district, it'll cost money. So what we do right now, we do equipment damage cost to the customers. We're fair with whatever it costs us, that's what we pass to the customers. So what we're proposing, because it's not only once or twice, it happens 3 times, 4 times for the same customer. And what we feel that's happening is that they just do it on purpose and they yank it off. So we're proposing first, the second, third violation, which means the first time it'll be just equipment damage fee. There's no assessment to that. The second time, for the same customer, for anything that happens to the meter, it'll be $100 plus the equipment damage. So if the cable, it'll be the cable plus the $100. The third violation will be $250 plus whatever equipment damage. That will be determined based on that incident. And we do investigate, we take pictures, we have backup, and I have to determine, okay, we're going to charge it, no, we're going to charge it, depending on the situation or how it occurred.
And each customer will have a history and they've gone up there for a water situation if it occurs.
So every little item that breaks, that's part of the meter, it's broken down in the report.
And we keep track of this in their file in case they come in and say, well, this was my first violation, and it's already in
Right.
There's work orders and everything.
Like when the meter box breaks and it's the first violation, there's no history, I don't put a charge to it. The second time, we do put a charge for that meter box. So that's why we like to keep a history of the customer's record, so we can follow up with that. The customer history report, I believe that's something.
Section 915, that is when we have customers that will come once a year, every other 6 months. They'll come in with 5 days of additional reports going back to 17. That takes time on the cashiers to go and get the report for them. They can generate up to 10, 15 pages because they want to go back 2, 3 years for their history. And currently we're just charging $2 for a history report. And we feel like, okay, well, time consuming for the cashiers, paper that we're, using, and it's costing us, and we're only charging $2. So we're proposing to start the $2 for the first page. After that, $1 per page. So it's basically what we want to implement on the additional pages.
The next line item is the meter test fee, which is $9.16. Right now we do $25. Those are minimal as well. Now that we have the composite meters, I think it's been maybe 20 meters. Before it used to be, back to back with the old meters. But, if it comes out accurate, we charge $25 for that meter test. So what we're proposing is about an hour and a half, 2 hours to do the test. Not only that, they have to go back into the field and put it back in, so it's about a half a day work if you see it, so we were proposing to do it for $50, charge $50 if that happens. And like I said, it's not every time, it's very minimal. It's only when the customer wants to be, wants to make a test. The next section, which is 19, voluntary lot fee. Currently, it's $15. That's when they leave town. That's mostly like the winter Texas, Green Gate area, those areas where they leave back home. They call, I just left the meter. When I come back, just come and open it. Because they don't want anyone to use their water or, any reason whatsoever. So right now, we're doing $15, we're proposing $25 for that, service fee. And that has been minimal as well. It hardly happens, but, it does happen, especially with the winter check. The relocation of a meter fee, that's relocation within the same property. Let's say a customer has a meter in the middle of the property and they want to do an entrance or put a driveway. They want to relocate it to either side of the property. Right now, we're currently charging $250, and after assessing the cost of the backflow and going out there, we're proposing $375. That's just to relocate, not including if there's a bore that needs to be done, if it's going to be relocated, that's a separate fee. But it's just to have the meter relocated within the same property, it's not a different property. The meter reservice fee, with no meter, that's something, right now we're at $130, and it takes what it entails,
It entails application, it entails actually going out there and install the meter. When there's no meter on the ground, right now we're currently charging $131, opposed to $150. Just comparing to other entities, I believe we're low. And then we also have the reservice with the meter on the ground, which is usually your name change. We only charge right now currently $30. We want to bump it up to $50 to cover administrative, the application, basically just the administrative part that will be collecting on that, on the reservice with the meter on the ground, which is your name. So that would be your section 921 A and B. 922.
the sewer service fee.
That's also the same way, customer comes and applies for a name change. If they have sewer service, or there's a sewer reservice fee. Usually this one is when there's no meter. So if there's no meter, they're gonna be charging sewer reservice fee. Right now we charge $30, one above it up to $50 as well. But that sewer service fee is only when the meter is not on the ground. So this will go with the, water service fee of no meter. So it'll be the $150 plus the $50 for those customers that have water, which we don't have that many, barely in the Palmview that exists.
Next one is payment plan fee also.
The payment plan fee, section 923, we currently, if y'all know, we're the only city probably that only has payment plans. We offer to our customers. Right now, we currently charge a $10 payment plan fee. It's a one-time fee to start off the payment plan, and we do get a lot of customers that want to pay within time. We want to bump it up to $50 and to minimize those people, the common ones that like to do payment plans, minimize it and make them pay. They see, the rate went up to 50. Well, might as well let me just pay the bill versus pay the 50 and then drag it on. We don't give them more than 5 months, but still we do have customers that constantly want a payment plan every other month.
The next one is the boring fee. Currently, we have a boring machine that does up to 2-inch boards along service across the road. And right now we're charging $15 in-house. Just to be fair as well with the cost of fuel and going out there, the material, we want to propose $25 for the fee on the boring fee. Now those, if a customer has, they're more than welcome to get someone else if they want to quote for them. But for that, they go through the same process, come in and do a pre-con to make sure that they follow our standards. it's in-house, right now it's $15, up to 2 inches, and, or a 2-inch bore, and we're proposing $25 for that, bore fee. And I think our boring machine does up to 50 feet, if I'm not mistaken. Anything larger than that, longer than that, we have to recommend to get a contract. The trolley meter deposit.
That is new. We want to implement that into the rules. We do have contractors that come by and request a traveling meter, considered a temporary meter, that they can connect to our fire hydrant. We do charge $8,000 deposit, but it includes your influence meter and it includes the backflow. We want to make sure that we cover any costs if the meter gets damaged, the basket gets damaged. We want to make sure that we cover the cost for the new one. Right now, we're only charging $1,000. We want to bump it up to $2,000. So they're usually for contract users. Regular residents will not request, and we won't give a temporary meter to a resident. These are usually for contract.
And we're looking at getting the new meters that are hydrant meters that have a meter / backflow installed. So that this will cover that meter in case that gets stolen or damaged. At least the 2,000 will cover the recovery cost of the meter. So that's the proposal for that travel meter. The disconnect from the corp stop. Now the corporation stop is a valve at the main line. You know, they bring the main line and the corp stop. They bring the service up to the angle stop where the meter connects. And this only happens when the customer that doesn't pay after 3 months or 4 months, when they're still locked for non-payment, there's a report that gets generated. Those accounts will have to be removed the meter. Now, we can't get to a meter because it's a gate lock or it's difficult to get to the meter because of that reason. The next step is to do the corporation stuff. We get our research group, they go out there and they excavate, they go to the corp stop and they shut it down. So that's where this fee will come into play. It doesn't happen every month. It only happens like maybe once or twice a year when we do those disconnects, which is a complete removal of the meter until they pay the full balance and then before they get the meter back. But they still are locked, so don't think that they're open. They're still locked with non-payment lock. But then this is where we want to incorporate that fee for the same reason, because it's a backup going out twice to disconnect and then again to reconnect. So it's $250 once and $250 twice. It's 2 trip charges. So that's a recommendation for that disconnect and connect at port stop. The illegal connection, which is that item, that's to be determined. It all depends on the scenario out there, the fines, what you might carry. So that'll be determined on every situation. And we'll bring it to Mr. Sainz and go from there. See what needs to be done. I don't have any questions on each of the items? Any items?
Mr. President, we met twice in the committee, first month or so, then to present to the committee. And as we stated earlier, these hadn't been looked at or considered since 2008, so we could just trying to get caught up. And we're the staff is making a recommendation for the board to implement this updated fee to put them into our policy.
Is there a motion for item number 6?
Make a motion to approve, the recommendation for the committee to amend the second.
I have a motion by Solis,
I second the motion.
second by Diaz. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Number 7, presentation, discussion, possible action on implementing year 3 of proposed water rate increase as approved on April 1st, 2019.
Yes, Mr. President, back in 2019, the board approved a 5-year implementation of rate increases, very minimal. So we're in our 3rd year, and part of the motion was also to reconsider whether at year 3 we still needed to continue to implement the proposed rates that were approved. Just know to make that presentation back then, and I believe it is on on the call right now. Jeff, Donna, are you here?
Yes, I'm here. Good evening.
Good evening, Jeff.
So I'll pass it on to him to make his recommendations or discussions in regards to what is transpired and where we're at now. Go ahead, Jeff.
Thank you, Mr. Sines. In brief, we did present a 5-year series of rate adjustments. This rate adjustment is very modest. For the majority of your customers, this would represent a $1 increase in the monthly bill for water-only customers, for an 8,000 gallon a month water customer. So it's a very modest increase. But more importantly, one of the reasons that you asked me to do the rate study was we needed to fund the sewer improvements. And for the sewer customers that are coming online now that will flow to Mission, there's a $1.27 increase for that average residential bill. And that revenue is pretty critical to allowing you to fund the debt and operations, and then also to pay Mission the wholesale treatment charges for the new sewage flow. So I would encourage you to approve these very modest rate increases, and I'm glad to answer any questions.
Any questions, board? From the one? That's for Maribel. So basically on this one, Science, either we gotta either make a motion to implement 25-cent increase
Right now,
or
you all.
not approve.
The way I said, the board approved the 5-year increases for $1.25 throughout 5 years, which is 25 cents a year. And so the 5-year program was approved. It was brought back to the board at the 3rd year to see whether you all wanted to reconsider not implementing it. So right now it will be implemented unless you vote not to. And Mr. Sullivan for K-Pax, who did our rate study, is recommending that we still continue. It would just be, I think that's a 25 cent increase. If we're doing that 25 cents every year, so it's up to $1.25. On the first 3 years, very minimal. People didn't even know. I think the 2nd year that we had done it, because they were so small, it was basically just a quarter increase for residential customers. But we will continue to implement it. We just wanted to wait until we had to be able to look at our rates, and I know that we waited a couple of months to COVID stuff. So we're here now, and if there's no action, we will be implementing the 3rd year.
So it's up to the board.
Well, I make a motion not to amend the 25 cents, but just to leave it the way it is, not increase at all. That's my motion.
Motion made by Sandoval not to increase. Do I have a second? I'll make the second. So all in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So it's 3-2. So it passes.
I could be more detailed. This is just for this year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Item 8, discuss some possible action to approve vendors for auto mechanic services for district vehicles.
Members of the board, yes, we have mechanic services that came up to be due this month, and I already have the table in front of me. I reached out to several mechanics, Joe's Auto Repair, Valley Diesel Service and Collision, and also with mine, cleanup and stuff. And I got the quotes back, and I did a tab sheet for you to see an overall cost. It doesn't mean that everything when it's needed. But based on, their hourly rate for diesel vehicles and gas vehicles, you can see it on the table, which is this one, overall. It's, their hourly rate, they look at it, $90.85 for diesel services and gas, as well as the different, service fee. And, this incorporates just their labor, not the material. It all depends what they will have to do on the vehicle. And if they do buy the parts, there's a markup of 15%, whichever one does that cost. And they give us the opportunity to purchase those materials that we need. We want to buy them ourselves at our cost. And their warranty as well. It's the one that I will want to recommend or supposed to recommend is Joe's Auto Repair and Guzman. Both of them have a year warranty, parts and labor. They have insurances in their shop. Something happens to the vehicles, it's covered. With Joe, I've had a history with them and had no issues. They fix the vehicles. They will stop what they're doing. They try and get our vehicles operating so we can go back and service and not delay it for a week or 2 weeks. So we expect the same thing with this. Mine will be our first year. I'm recommending since they're on the corner and their fees also are considerate. So I'm recommending if it's possible 2 mechanics to have a standby in case one is not available. I can use the other mechanic. Now I usually do shuffle them. I try and keep it even to where it's not just one way, it's for both. That's how I've done it in the past. But I'm proposing if it's a recommendation for Joe's Auto Repair and Guzman Tuna.
Okay. I need a motion for number 8.
I guess so move for, you said Joe Auto Repair and Guzman Tuna?
Yes.
Okay, I have a motion by Sandoval. Do I have a second? Second, all in motion. On the favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 9, discussion possible action to approve vendor for tire maintenance and repairs for district vehicles.
As well, members of the board, for our fleet, we have flat repairs that does happen once in a while. And it's for our tractors, our diesel vehicles, meter readers, the staff office vehicle. And I went out, I also got quotes from Pete Mufflers, Scott's Tires, Center, and Valley Diesel Service and Repair. And based on the table as well, you can see I want to recommend 2 contractors if it's possible, 2 vendors, which would be Pete Mufflers. We've had a good relationship this past years. They're standard, in our district, so it's very good for this place to go and do the repairs for any vehicle. And anything that happens to the vehicle, they'll let us know and give us the opportunity as well what we want to do. And with Scott Tires, he does service calls. If our backhoe is out there and it's stranded, he'll call his service tech and they'll go out there and repair it as well. I've used them in the past, but of course through quotes, and I want to recommend them for that reason, because if our backhoes go down and they're somewhere out in the field, I'd rather than go out there and fix it rather than try and get a record to pick up the vehicle, the factor, and bring it back, which could be costly. So that's my recommendation for Pete's Mufflers and Scott's Tires for their services. Also, if you can see on the table, Scott's Tire Center, if we do purchase any tires from them, they'll do free flat repairs and free rotation on those tires that they'll purchase too. But again, we're centered with Pete's Mufflers, so that's the most common that we'll use for any repairs that needs to be done, the faster the better. And Scott will be all for the heavy equipment for the service calls. So that's my recommendation for either for Pete and Scott.
Item number 9. I have a motion by Cesar. Need a second?
Second.
By Sandoval, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 10, discuss a possible action to approve vendor for oil changes and preventive maintenance for district vehicles.
Yes, members of the board, you have in front of you, I have 3 quotes as well. I approached 3 vendors, which is Get the Loop, again, Valley Diesel Services, and Joe's Auto Repair. And from the 3, only 2 gave me back quotes. And I'm recommending Get the Loop. They're economic. I mean, they do oil changes, air filters, anything that, something that radiator flush, whatever's needed on the vehicle. And if there's nothing that's needed, if I have a service call, let's say, for example, I have air filter needs to be replaced based on our program. He'll check it out and he'll come in, hey, you know what, you don't need it right now, it's good, we'll leave it for next time. So they don't just do it because we give them the report. They'll just, they'll monitor, diagnose. If it's needed, they'll do it. If not, they'll let me know. And we can cancel it and it'll be an expense for us. So, well, I've been with them for 5, 6 years. And it's been a good relationship with CSW. And that's basically what it is. It's only oil changes and radiator flush, PM service. That's my recommendation. For CSW.
Well, motion for item number 10. Any questions?
Any questions on the board?
So you've been using them for years?
Yeah, for years. It's been a good relationship with AGUA, so they do help us out, and they won't overcharge. So there's, let's say I have a vehicle with oil change, air filter, radiator flush. He'll make sure to check first before he does it. If it's not needed, he'll just do the oil change and not the rest.
Oh,
okay. It's always doing that.
So he's reasonable, like.
Yes, he's reasonable. They don't go over the charges. Or we give them a list. We have to do everything because that's what they brought us. So they go and diagnose and make sure that it's needed. So they're trying to take care of it as well. So it's been that we communicate well. We like to speak to them. Are they local? They're in Mission. They're off of Bryan. I've been trying to get locally here the loops, but since I've used them in the past to get folks, they don't want to see me anymore. They know you've been here before and you never give me anything. So it's hard to get folks.
But I think it's that some shops don't have insurance.
Yeah. And it also, I see also what they use as oil. Not any oil is good, especially for a seat. So the viscosity, the quality of the oil says a lot. There might be some cheaper, but I also go to that extreme and see what kind of oil they use. They use Valvoline oil for all the people. There's other ones that do have them, cheaper probably, but if it's a Service Pro oil, that doesn't have good quality, especially for our people. It's every day going back and forth, so it's going to burn out real quick. Yeah. So move on. I don't understand.
Motion by Cesar. Now to the second motion. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 11, discuss possible action to approve vendors for repairs and preventive maintenance to the district emergency generators. This item, I'm gonna exclude myself from any discussion and voting. Albert?
As you can see in front of you, members of the board, our PM services for our emergency generators, that they're located in the plants and also in our lift stations. And if you go, there's a list of 7 generators that we have. We have one at Abram plant, which is right behind us. We have one at Havana plant, the Havana raw water plant as well. The 3-mile line standpipe for a booster, our 886 booster in Sullivan, and sewer plant in Sullivan as well. And there's a portable lift station generator, emergency generator, that is utilized in Sullivan for all the lift stations. In case there's an emergency, there's no light, they go out there and they use that generator to go and have power on those lift stations. And proposing to recommend a PM service done to all the generators to make sure that, their loops are up to date, air filters, fuel is good, batteries, hoses, serpentine belts, everything to be ready in case of that emergency, like we experienced back in the freeze, that the generators were running for about 4 or 5 days nonstop. So what they will do is they'll come up every quarter, every 3 months. They'll do the inspection points. They're not gonna do any kind of repairs unless they go through me and I approve it. Now, we have the option also to purchase our own material, the parts, or they can do it as well. And the recommendation, we have Cornerstone, they're from out of town, and Diesel Fleet Care, they're here locally. And Sigma couldn't give us a quote for the generators, and Diesel Fleet Care would be my recommendation. Why? Because it's cheaper, things will close. And it's just an inspection point that they're gonna do. If there's anything recommended, they'll let me know, and then we'll go ahead and do it. But if it's something we can take care of, we can buy the battery, we can install it, we'll do it ourselves. But it's all based on recommendation. They won't do anything unless it's authorized by us. And that's why I specified, just give me a quote for inspections, not to do the work until it's not through the proper approval. And if we do it, and if they do it, I can buy it and bring it to them. We have discounts in the parts at Target or wherever else, or whatever it might be. We have special discounts as well. So that's my recommendation.
Motion by Cesar. I need a second.
Second.
Second by Sandoval. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 12, discuss some possible action to authorize General Manager and K-PAC Consultant to negotiate acquisition of raw water rights for district. Mr. Science.
Members of the board, we do have approximately over $6 million in our budget for water rights acquisition. And we've been approached many times, and especially in the last 6 months, we've had a couple of individuals ask us to do considering the buying more. So we have several individuals. We ought to authorize Jeff Sullivan, who has negotiated on our behalf before. And there are some landowners that want to sell them. We also have some irrigation districts. I think one of them is still open to sell us some water rights. We want to be able to start owning all the water rights instead of leasing them at the end of the day. And ask for your action. Allow us to negotiate with individuals, see what kind of price. They come back to the board. And we have Jeff here as well, he should be still on. And he will be assisting us in doing that.
Any questions from the board? Is there a motion? Motion made by Cesar. Need a second by Sandoval. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 13, discuss some possible action regarding interlocal agreement with City of Peñitas to maintain and service fire hydrants within city limits.
Yes, Mr. President, members of the board, the City of Peñitas has approached us to be able to have an interlocal agreement to service the fire hydrants that we have within our system within the city limits. They will be doing their own testing. We'll be on site to help them out. They'd like to know the pressures that are coming out of their fire hydrants within the city and be more familiar with the system as well. We have, I want to invite them. Good evening.
Good evening, Chief.
The fire chief of the city, and we've looked at the agreement. Mr. Peña has worked with the city's legal department as well. I think the city is good with what we have. I just spoke to him about an hour ago. But if there's any questions from the fire chief, we want to just help out. I mean, the fire hydrants are really for fire protection. We're not required to have fire protection, and at the same time, we want to work with our cities and do similar interlocal agreements with the other cities if possible to make sure that they have the adequate fire hydrant because some of those may not have ever been maintained and the status of each one of our fire hydrants. They were all put in there by developers, we don't put any in, but obviously there's not always a fire there, so sometimes those fire hydrants have never been opened. So this would, help to have that as well. I don't know if there's anything else. I think that we're at a point where we're going to, if we all are considering the, partnering up with the city, we have to recommend approval of the little.
Was there any information in our package regarding those interlocal agreements and things like that?
I have copies. I did provide copies to staff here. I'm not sure if you all got a copy of it. It's still in draft mode. I haven't received word from we've received word from the city that they're okay with it, but I haven't heard back from the legal counsel. But this is the.
Mr. Science, you spoke to the legal counsel?
I spoke to their legal counsel around 5:15.
Okay.
And he said that they were fine with the latest version. It was something, maybe a grammatical word here or there, which is very minor. It doesn't even need to be changed. But
okay.
Right. There were two main things that we added. One was the notice was in the original draft. They have to give us notice anytime they're going to be testing or maintaining the fire hydrants. Our concern is we have to have someone from AGUA supervising because ultimately we're responsible. Also, the indemnity agreement, if there's damage, if it causes damage, if something with the fire hydrant due to the maintenance, causes damage either to the actual fire hydrant or to a third party, there's an indemnity agreement, because we'll have to indemnify us for that. And I think with those two changes, I feel comfortable with it. I think City of Peñitas is comfortable with it. And I think, making sure that all these fire hydrants have good pressure on them and that conserves the community if there is a fire, I think that's important. So, I think we're good.
I have a lot of questions. Is there any way that we can move the item into?
To executive session to discuss? If the motion is made to move it into executive session.
So I make a motion to move, that item regarding the, interlocal agreement with the City of Peñitas, into.
I have a motion by Solis. Is there a second? Second by Diaz. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 14, discuss some possible action authorizing general manager to solicit requests for qualification for engineering services, civil, mechanical, structural, electrical, and geotechnical.
Yes, Mr. President, this is an action that we'd like to take. This is for general engineering services that cover all the different disciplines. We will be receiving proposals and then getting evaluated, and then we could vote on a pool of engineers that we'd like to do some certain projects. And, we're asking for approval of this action so that we can go on and advertise.
And then it still has to come back to the board, correct?
It has to come back, yes.
Do I have a motion for item 14? I have a motion by Sandoval. Do I have a second? Second, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 15, discuss a possible action regarding change order number 2 with Moreville LLC for the NetBank Palmview Yardline Project hookup project.
Yes, Mr. President, members of the board, this is a NetBank project. It's funded by NetBank, and this is basically a change order that has been negotiated between the engineer and Moreville. And it is due to the fact that SureTech hasn't completed some of the sections of their project, and Moreville is catching up to them. We're basically, putting a number together that if they can't get to that area, because SureTech isn't completed, that means they would have to keep the area. And then when they come back, they remobilize and then take care of their part of the project. I'll let, Nico discuss, the numbers.
Yes, so basically, Moreville is approximately 85% complete with the phase 1 area, which we call the LNG area. The connections that are basically unfortunately left on that side are the more difficult ones, that more lengthier, with time and being able to get a hold of some of the residents, some of them being out of town and whatnot. So in order to continue to keep moving, the project forward, the only way is to start moving some crews to the other side, which is the other phase, which is the SureTech phase. Now, since we have not been able to get to the point where we've accepted the entire area or even portions of that area as substantial completion, then what the contractor would have to do is basically install the service, add a cap at the connection point at the property line, add another cap at the connection point by the home, and then once those areas get to substantial completion, then the contractor would have to go back, reactivate, remove the cap, and with additional fittings, make those connections at the home side and at the property line side. So we went back and forth in discussing this with NatBank and also with the contractor in our monthly status meeting. They first started with $600 per home to be able to remobilize, reactivate, and make these connections. And so we negotiated as best as we could, back and forth even with NatBank, and so they came down to $575 for each home. We are not expecting for them to have to do this on all the homes. We're hoping that some areas that we can isolate, like the G7 area and line A1E, which is the deep line that connects phase 1 and 2. So once those lines are isolated, then we would get the crews to go to those areas and actually make the connections. So this wouldn't come into play. In discussions with NatBank, we agreed, we verbally agreed that approximately 400 or less homes would require this. We're hoping less, and we're certainly pushing the other contractor to make this as best as possible. But in order to continue moving the project forward in the circumstances that we're in, we recommend approval, and we discussed it with NatBank. But if the board does decide to move forward with this change order, we just ask that you make the motion contingent on any comment from NatBank. Carlos has told me that they're good with it, but they still have to verify with EPA who's funding the project through them. So, if you have any questions, go ahead.
Any questions for the board? Is there a motion to approve the change order?
So,
A motion by Sandoval. Do I have a second? Second, all in favor, signal by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 16, General Managers Report, May financials.
Yes, I just asked about meeting, let's make the packet, reporting on our budget. This year, we're at, this is up to May, it's 42% of the year. As you can see, our revenues are at 41%, and our expenses are at 43%. The one that we're always monitoring, as I mentioned last time, is, our water plants and our sewer plant, people have a lot of maintenance stuff, but we're still within the budget. I think that we kind of told them that unless it's a very important emergency, we're trying to let our maintenance costs catch up to where it's at. So hopefully in the next 2 months, we'll probably, be at a point where, we're back to what we would budget. But it's just that, I think a lot of the repairs and maintenance happen as a result of the fee. And so that's why it did, go up a lot sooner. We feel very comfortable with it.
Okay. Any questions? None. Item B, Texas Water Development Board, Palmview Sanitary Sewer Improvements.
This one, President, we would like to go ahead and have that.
You already have it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Next Next item is Net Bank Technical Assistant Agreement for hookups.
Yes, I'll have Mr. Cuevitas give us a report on the number of connections we have, the status of the project.
So as I mentioned on the previous, item, they're approximately 85% complete on the phase one side. They've completed 846 connections as of yesterday, and that's just for services. And then fully connected and flowing is 667, 548, septic tanks, have been pumped out and hauled away. And, from those, 485 have been fully decommissioned.
Item D, update regarding potential wholesale portable water supply interlocal agreement.
Yes, it's for the members of the board, in discussing and having presentations, engineer on our CIP program and where we're at on capacity, where we want to be in our future plans. We're moving forward to trying to have an interlocal agreement with the city of Mission to be able to provide us water on an emergency basis. But we're also wanting to consider having on a more permanent basis enough water to be able to stay within our capacity limit. That's where we are in planning stages. So we're also talking to the city of McAllen and back then, the Hawaii Water Supply had an interlocal agreement with both Mission and McAllen, where McAllen would supply Mission, and Mission would just transfer the water through their system to us. And all we're trying to do is make sure that we have enough capacity for our growing, but I think that we're going to be hitting some limits, so we need to start, planning for new water plants and additional water. But this way, we have this agreement, we're sure we will be having that. And so, we're just in the initial stages, and we just want to let you know this is what we're working on, and then we'll make a presentation to you after some more discussions with these two things to see where how much time. So, it's always good to have an emergency connection anyway. We help out the city of La Jolla all the time, and with the agreement we have with them. We had one with Mission, but then when mile 2 came in, the disconnection was made, so we're just trying to make that connection back up, and the plans are ready to go, and you all authorize the rest. At the last meeting to advertise for the rate, but we don't want to do it until we know we have the agreement. Okay. It's just an update on that.
On that. Okay. Item C, district newsletter.
Yes, I think everybody has the copy of the newsletter in front of them. It's coming out this week. It should be mailed out to all our ratepayers. We're looking at another one hopefully in December. But I feel real good with it. There's a lot of good stories in there, and just to advise you all that it should be going out and a lot of the neighbors and the residents should be seeing it this weekend.
Okay. Item F, website update.
It seems like we've gotten caught up with the website with the transfer of our service providers, so everything's up on the website now. We will be adding videos to it from January on. We're going to start whatever we have. We're going to start putting in. So now you're not just going to have the agenda and then the minutes. Now we're going to have a video so they can also see.
But they're already in there already.
Yes, they're in there already. So we just started implementing. So, go through the website. If there's any other things that you'd like to add, we'll go ahead and put them in there.
And then we also added the number, the 188 number to call in.
Yeah, we added a 188 number, and now we're putting a lot of reports in there or data that's also in the newsletter in regards to the do's and don'ts of sewers, and also being able to pay online or by phone. So we're trying to be more informative to help our customers who want that, if they can't make it here, they can another way to make payments as well. So let's do it and let us know if you'd like to touch it up.
Item G, 3 Mile Road Waterline Relocation Improvement Update.
Yes, I know that we awarded their project several months back. We just, there's been activity there, but some of the activity mostly is interfering. working with the engineers for the road, and when we were gonna start putting in our line, we wound up understanding that when we're gonna put a water line, they had also approved somebody else to put an AT&T line, but fiber optic. So now that they kind of figured that out and where we're actually gonna go, now we've already given them notice to proceed so they can lay it where it should be. So, maybe if you wanna, kind of expand on that and how much time they'll have.
Yeah, so we met out in the field with LNG, who's the engineer that did the plans, and then they have, the construction manager, who's B2Z, and then of course ourselves with, then we met with BTX, who's the fiber optic, company that had that line installed. And so at the time, I guess when they were doing the plans, they approved us to be in a certain spot and BTX to be either right on or very close to it. So, right now, what LNG is doing is they're getting, the right of way staked out to assure, exactly where that line got installed in comparison to the right of way, to designate exactly where they would prefer for us to be, because, there's a very small area. They have their drainage lines, and there's some areas where there's calicheras, and they weren't able to buy additional right of way. So there's small gaps that we need to fit in there. And so that's what we're trying to work out. The contractor has been patient with us and getting this coordinated, but, they're aware of this and they know that they're just now going to be able to start.
Okay. Any questions? Item 17, executive session. Pursuant to the Texas Open Meetings Act and Texas Government Code Section 551.001, consultation with attorney, 551.072 regarding real property, 551.073 prospective gifts, 551.074 personal matters, 551.076 security, prospective gifts, 551.074 personal matters, and 551.076 security. Item A, Texas Water Development Board, Palmview Sanitary Sewer Improvement Project. Item B, cost number C-3353-20-I, S&B Infrastructure versus AGUA Special Utility District in the District Court of Hidalgo County, Texas, 398th Judicial District. Item C, case number C-3856-20-D, Marvin Lee Terveen versus AGUA Special Utility District, Marvel LLC and S&B Infrastructure LTD, in the District Court of Hidalgo County, Texas, 206th Judicial District. Item D, Jimmy Klossner and Sons liquidated damages for Palmview Wastewater Collection System Phase 1, their stations A2, F, G, and G7, project number 3. Item E, Marvel LLC liquidated damages for Palmview Wastewater Collection System, Main Lift Station and Force Main, project 4. Item F, Salida del Sol tank certification. Item G, Performance Services Inc., Smart Meter Program Guarantee. Item H, Energy Provider Contract Status and Review. Item I, Raw Water Rights Accusation Update. J, Mandela Project. And item 13, discussing possible action regarding interlocal agreement with City of Peñitas to maintain and service fire hydrants within city limits. I need a motion at 7:21.
Mr. President, before, there's a motion and second. There is what appears to be a typo, just to be clear, the section for the consultation with the attorney is 551.071.
Okay.
That will be the section, the consultation with the attorney will be under.
Which, 551.001.
071.
So there, 071, so it's a double zero. Got it. Thanks. Got that.
Okay.
Okay. So I need a motion at 7:21.
So move.
A motion by Sandoval. Need a second? Second by Solis. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. I need a motion to come out of executive session at 8:31.
So move.
Motion by Sandoval. Second by Solis. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 18, discussion possible action regarding items discussed in executive session. No action? Okay. Then I'm gonna need a motion to bring item 13 back.
Okay, yeah.
I need a motion to bring item 13 back out of executive session at 8:31.
So move.
Motion by Sandoval. Need a second? Second, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 13, discussion possible action regarding interlocal agreement with City of Peñitas to maintain and service fire hydrants within city limits.
So move.
Motion by Sandoval. Need a second? A second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 19, adjournment at 8:32. I need a motion.
So move.
Motion made by Sandoval. I need a second. By Solis. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, God.